Hi, I'm MarzGurl.
I'm JoshKnightTheFirst.
And welcome to episode 67 of MokkoriPlay, the only podcast dedicated solely to all things City Hunter.
On today's podcast, we're going to cover Season 2, Episode 16 of City Hunter, titled Don't Die, Falcon, Magnum with Love and Revenge, Part 2.
We got another one of these two-parters. We're rounding this one out.
Yes, we're going to see this conclusion to the story of revenge that we saw beginning last week with a little girl who's not so little anymore, who thinks Umibozu done killed her daddy.
But he didn't do it, but he's still gonna kind of take responsibility for it, and we're gonna just clear this whole thing up. It's actually a pretty cut and dry episode.
It really is.
Rounding out what the problem was from last week.
Also, just to warn you guys ahead of time, sorry if I sound a little stuffy. The weather in LA sucks right now, and it's really messing with my sinuses.
You know, I took a nap, and I was fine before the nap, and then I woke up, and my nose decided, hey, I am also stuffy right now, so I'm okay, but I think I might have caught a cold again.
Oh god, I hope not.
I hopefully it doesn't blow up into anything worse than that. I know, this really doesn't have anything to do with City Hunter, but it could affect the podcast.
Because the weather, right,
the weather
is what I'm blaming, and the weather is rainy.
It's rainy.
And rainy is how the episode starts.
Are we not going to talk about the trailer?
Oh yeah, that's right. So you guys are in luck again. We get to talk about more City Hunter news before we actually get started.
Yeah, don't forget about that. You made me pull the trailer up before we
started
sure recording.
I sure did. So earlier this week, just a few days ago, we got a new trailer for this upcoming Aniplex-produced City Hunter movie. So now we have a new title for the movie.
Yeah, now it's City Hunter the movie Angel Dust. This is very important because Angel Dust actually comes up a whole heck of a lot more in the manga than it does in the anime.
And we're not just talking about PCP here.
No, although they make an allusion to the fact that it's basically a lot like PCP, but it, like, really turns you into a Hulkamaniac and, like not that you're into, like, the wrestler, but, like...
Not into Hulk Hogan, but no, the way you made the comparison before is that it's a little closer in function to what Venom is in the Batman comics.
Yeah, and Bane being all hopped up on this Venom juice and...
roiding out, yeah.
Just really roiding out, yeah. So, we do kind of need to talk for a second about the slight difference between kind of the beginning of the City Hunter anime and the beginning of the City Hunter manga. It's a difference in how Makimura dies.
So you guys will remember here in the anime, Makimura gets pulled over by a dude who's got like a gun in his arm, and we hear a gunshot, but we don't actually see the killing blow. We just see Makimura in the next scene coming up to Ryo like, hey, I'm dying, man.
In both cases, he does die, in both the anime and the manga, and a lot of it has had to do with this same crime organization. It's just that, also in the manga, the guy who ran this crime organization, he was just part of a leg of a much bigger crime organization called Union Teope.
And they show up in the manga, the Takarazuka musical, and the French movie.
Yeah, so all these other iterations of City Hunter have remembered that Union Teope exists, and that they're trying to distribute this angel dust that'll just roid people out. And somebody on angel dust is who actually killed Makimura in the manga. It's like a totally different dude who kills Makimura. He does die, it's kind of the same circumstances, but it's a different guy, and he's like roided out and just beats the ever-loving shit out of him. And that's how he dies.
Yeah, he basically beat Makimura to death.
Yeah.
So here in this upcoming movie, with that title, there's no way they're not gonna touch on that.
Yeah, we clearly see it. It's called Angel Dust, which is the thing that Makimura's kind of investigating at the beginning of the series. A guy on Angel Dust kills him. Ryo has this obvious reaction to, oh my god, Angel Dust, because there's something up with Angel Dust about Ryo's past.
He is familiar with it, we will say that.
He's familiar with it. There's gonna be a guy later on, even I think it's in this season of City Hunter.
Oh yeah, at the end of the season.
There's some white guy from America that they unfortunately changed his name, but he's basically Mick Angel in the manga, right?
So functionally, he's the same character.
He's kind of the same character, but he functions differently and then he disappears forever. He's also tied to Ryo's past, also has something to do with Angel Dust, and then all the way at the end of the manga, there's more stuff you learn about Angel Dust, about how it ties to Ryo, and his family?
Question mark?
Yeah, so there's this tagline in this trailer where you you see a shot of Ryo holding Makimura as he's dying in his arms, just like you saw at the beginning of the anime, and the tagline is like, a battle to end the past begins. And I'm like, oh, well, obviously we're gonna cover Makimura's death and how he goes and avenges Makimura's death and all of that. Right? So, but now I'm wondering, do they mean that it's all going to be encapsulated in this one movie, or is this the start of a series of movies that will finally, like, wrap up all this stuff that was covered in the manga and never got animated into the TV series?
Who knows? That kind of a tagline does make it sound like they're leaving room for more, because I imagine the whole reason we're getting Angel Dust to begin with is because of the success of Shinjuku Private Eyes.
Entirely possible, yeah. It just seems like Ryo's voice actor's real old right now. How long can he keep doing this? Apparently,
I mean, like, if they were going to reboot it, they would have to recast, I imagine.
Yeah.
Just like with something like Trigun Stampede. You know, you can't keep your old cast forever.
I mean, there are some...
They try, though. They try.
There are some series that try forever.
Dragon Ball,
One Piece, yeah.
Lupin.
But
here, I do get the feeling that they might go to maybe 2 movies. I don't know that they would go for a trilogy.
I don't know. I think you could easily do one about the beginning of the series with Makimura's death and getting revenge for his death. You could do one about Mick Angel, and then you could do the one that wraps up the whole manga story, him having to interact with his adoptive father, and what was their past, and what was Angel Dust to them, that sort of thing.
I mean, otherwise, it looks like the same level of animation that we have seen in Shinjuku Private Eyes, but coming along with that is this thing of, what the hell have they done to Kaori's hair?
I'm so, like, I didn't like it in Shinjuku Private Eyes, and I think it looks worse now.
Because now it just looks like a mullet.
It does look really, really bad. I really do not like it.
And also, like, the color has changed significantly. It was kind of this reddish auburn in the series, all the way up through City Hunter 3, and then it got a little darker in some of the OAVs, but here in Shinjuku Private Eyes, they just turned it brown?
I guess. It's a little different. I don't think the color is different enough for me to care, but...
I'm a stickler for that sort of thing.
That length and fashion and style, though, I think is pretty bad.
Like, Kaori, go to the salon, please.
But what if she chose that? What if she did go to the salon and she chose that?
Then Sayako, help her. Somebody should help that lady.
Bummer. Anyway, I'm excited about this. This is coming out in the fall. Now we know that it's coming out in the fall. They really pushed it back a lot, huh?
Well, I imagine this is one of those things where they announced it and they didn't know what they were going to do, so it was simply just a placeholder.
But you know, lots of other Aniplex shows right now are getting pretty big delays. Several shows.
Well, a lot of
have
that
been
is
delayed.
in regard to, like, COVID-related things, right?
A lot of COVID, and they've got a lot of studios that they're animating with out of China. And China's going through some crap right now, apparently, and a lot of their studios are shut down, so that is interrupting the workflow. Yeah, the workflow to get over to Japan to be able to complete these projects. So I wouldn't doubt that the City Hunter film also kind of got disrupted by that same thing.
I mean, the way I'm starting to think of it now, I know I've been really pushy about it up until now, but we'll get it when it's ready.
Yeah, I mean, now that they've actually given us updates, I feel better so long as they're giving us updates.
Well, yeah, they're giving us updates. We got some new footage.
Yeah.
We see this dude here in, like, a white mask and a trench coat, and I'm already like, who's that guy?
Yeah, who is that guy? I feel like I have some hints as to who this might be as far as the manga is concerned, but I'm not super sure, so...
We'll see. I just know the edgelord sense in me was like, I need to learn more about that guy.
Oh no, please don't do this.
I can't help who I am.
Okay.
You married an edgelord.
Oh no. Pray for me, y'all.
In any case, let's go ahead and talk about today's episode.
I'm sorry, yes.
So to recap from last week, we have a woman here in Shinjuku whose name is Kathleen Haywood. She is here to kill Umibozu because she has been incorrectly taught her whole life, or at least the last 8 years, that he was the person who killed her dad, but really it was this other guy named Dandy Jack.
And now Dandy Jack is the one saying, hey, Umibozu killed your dad, shot him in the back, just left him to die. I'm gonna train you the next 8 years, and you're gonna go kill him. And she's like, okay. And then 8 years pass, and then they go to Japan, and she's like, I'm gonna kill Umibozu. And Ryo's like, but why though? And she's like, because he killed my dad. And he's like, are you sure about that? And then he even asks Umibozu, and he's like, no, I didn't.
And we find out that Umibozu was a common writer, and he rebelled against an evil organization and blew it up, and then let the girl think he killed her dad. But we're gonna see that all resolved resolved right now.
Right now.
So picking up right where we left off last week, Umibozu is just out walking in the rain with this hurt arm, and he doesn't have time to bleed. He's got business to take care of, as he said before, and he goes straight to an arms dealer's house.
He's like, hey, what are you doing asleep?
I just got hit with a bazooka. Only you sell bazookas here in Shinjuku. I know, because I'm probably the dude who's your biggest customer next to Dandy Jack, who I know bought him from you. Damn it, where's he at?
I don't know. Oh, you don't, do you? Well, hey, you got some pretty nice stuff in here. It'd be a shame if somebody broke all of it and he just starts breaking things he's got on a shelf. He's like, hold on, that's worth like millions of yen. Okay, fine. So he's off at this house outside the city. But if he's not there, then I don't know where the guy is, alright? Just leave my stuff alone. He's like, alright, bye. Mind you, Umibozu's hurt, so he's limping out the door. But he's still gonna go. He's still like, I gotta finish this, even though I really should be healing. But I'm gonna go.
And so we see it's the next morning, and Umibozu's back in his like sport utility vehicle trying to drive up the coast.
This looks like not a Suzuki. It doesn't look like a Jeep. It's smaller than a Jeep. It's like I had thought of a different brand of vehicle while I was watching it, and I couldn't figure out what.
Are you sure it's not like a Grand Cherokee?
It looked like an Isuzu.
Oh, it could be.
It looked a lot like an Isuzu to me.
It very well could be. Whether it's an Isuzu, a Honda, whatever, he's not driving it very well.
No, he's pretty injured, so he's kind of drifting off into oncoming traffic and only course correcting at the last possible moment, driving into the guardrail, and he's like, oh, sorry, car. We just gotta keep going.
So while he's off driving to get to Dandy Jack's mansion that he's rented out for the time being, we're back at Ryo's apartment down in the gun range, and I guess everybody's having to blow off steam from the end of last episode, because you'll recall Kathleen got slapped in the face at the very end.
Oh yeah, and then the credits started rolling. That's how that happened. Thanks, Ryo.
So I imagine this went down like, hey, look, I know I had to slap you to try and get you to calm down. My bad. You want to go shoot some guns?
Just kind of directs her down into the shooting range, and then she starts shooting, and she's a pretty okay shot. You know, she gets some really pretty decent solid body shots.
Yes, she's got decent grouping. Mind you, nowhere near as good as Ryo, but who is?
Yeah, maybe Mick Angel. That's about it.
You're getting ahead of yourself there. We were not going to hear that name at all in this show.
Well, not until we cover, like, Takarazuka.
But now that she's shot off a few rounds, and now she's kind of dressed differently from the end of last episode, because she was still in her dress at the end of last episode, and now it's the next day, so now she's in, like, this rocker outfit, kind of.
It's kind of a tight one-piece fashion thing with a
red belt.
Yeah, like, the belt is the most rocker-looking part of it, I think, because it's more fashion than it is function, I think. Because
I would agree.
It's got this interesting diamond sort of shape to the middle of it.
It's like, almost a corset belt.
Oh, yeah, closer to a corset than just a belt. It's very large. Takes up her whole midsection.
But now that she's shot off a few rounds, maybe now she's open to a little bit of convincing or conversation. So Ryo tries to hit her directly with cognitive dissonance. So, Kathleen, let's talk about what's going on here with Umibozu. You say he killed your dad, right?
Yeah, that's what I've been led to believe, and so that's what I believe.
And you believe he killed your dad in cold blood and walked away like a coward, right?
That's what it sounds like to me.
So you believe he's an asshole, right?
Pretty much.
Then why'd he protect you and take the bullets?
I don't know, shut up, bye.
And that's literally how that conversation goes.
Yeah.
Like, he tries to explain to her, none of what you're saying makes sense with the kind of person Umibozu is. You've seen this firsthand, and the cognitive dissonance just kicks in. She can't accept that because she's been fed this bull crap for 8 years that Umibozu's the dude who did her dad in.
Well, she's just like, oh, I'm sure he's just trying to look cool for you so that you'll continue to defend him.
Dumbass, I know him. You haven't seen him in 8 years. I've been messing around with him at least for 2 seasons. I know the man. I've drank his whiskey.
Which we're not sure whether or not he makes himself.
Well, once he repairs his warehouse, he'll probably get back to either ordering more or making more.
One of the two.
So yeah, Kathleen walks off, and Cody's getting mad at Ryo. Well, why are you just letting her do that? Go after her.
She's just gonna do whatever she wants anyway. She's already got her mindset. Nothing I can do! And really, most of the episode, Kaori and Ryo don't do hardly anything except one badass thing at the end.
Yeah, because for right now, they're explaining, look, there's nothing we can do about the situation, and Umibozu right now, he's not in a good space. He's kind of hurt pretty bad. He could be killed right now, and only one person could do it.
Do you mean you? No, I mean her. Oh.
Which means this is bad. That's
Yeah.
how messed up he is. Because usually the show gives you the impression that it would take somebody of Ryo's caliber to go ahead and take down Umibozu. But if he's weak enough that Kathleen could do it, you know he's in a bad way.
That's true, but it also means Kathleen's not, like, shitty.
Yes, it does also mean she's got skill.
She's got skill enough that she could kill an injured Umibozu.
And the whole reason she wants to, again as a reminder, is because of this asshole Dandy Jack, who now is landing a helicopter on the roof of Ryo's apartment.
Coming out with a bouquet of flowers. Like, hey, sorry about that, man. Never would've shot that rocket launcher in there if I thought that you were in there. And Kaori's just like, shut the fuck up.
No, Cowdy, she gives him a good tongue lashing.
Well, yeah, because, like, your partner Kathleen was in there, and you still shot in there, so you must not think of her very much as a partner. And he's like,
Nah, she's cool with it.
she's fine. Here you go, have these flowers. Come on, Kathleen, we gotta go kill Umibozu. Bye, guys! Hey, what's this ticking coming from this bouquet of flowers? Oh shit, it's a bomb! Ryo throws it into the air, catches Kaori, and just like jumps with her as far away from these flowers as he can. And
Kaboom!
They just explode in midair.
But you look at the way that he grabs for Cowdy, like, of course, yeah, in any case, he would throw the explosive device away and then cover the person nearest to him, but it's the way he has proper form in that he wraps one arm around her waist, and then the other one he's cradling the back of her head.
Yeah, I mean, he does that for a lot of people he's trying to save, but there is quite a bit of care in just making sure that throwing her to the ground also did not injure her.
That means he cares.
He cares enough, yeah. I mean, it didn't become a thing after that or anything. Like, even Kaori was like, oh my god, it was a bomb, and that's just how they both treated it. Like, they weren't looking into it any further between the two of them.
But I'm over here, like, I don't remember that part of the episode, and I saw the flowers, and I'm like, that's a bomb.
I know. It's very obvious that this guy's just an asshole, and anything that looks good out of him is not that good, and that's what Ryo says. He's like, that's the kind of guy Dandy Jack is. He'll stick bombs and flowers. He's just an asshole, so let's go see where they're going.
And so to further prove that he's an asshole, they're up in the chopper right now, Dandy Jack and Kathleen, and now having heard Ryo say something, and having heard Cowdy say something, now the gears are starting to turn in Kathleen's head, and so she asks Dandy Jack straight up, hey, so, yeah, about that rocket you launched at us. I was in there? Like, why did you launch a rocket while I was in there?
And he doesn't really have an explanation for it. He's just like, yeah, but you're alive now, and you can go kill Umibozu. Let's go.
In fact, here's a gun. Do something with the gun.
I'll give you a better gun to better ensure that you will kill Umibozu.
But thing, psh, we're not talking about that anymore. Here, have weapons. So, a very healthy male role model in her life.
Very.
So they're heading in the chopper over to the mansion, and Ryo is giving chase in the Mini with Cowdy at his side, and for whatever reason, it's 1988 right now, and Ryo has GPS in his car.
And GPS, now, it existed, it was a thing, but largely at this point in time, it is government use only. In fact, US government use only.
Right, it's kind of like you see in older movies where we had the technology, or people had the technology, it was just much bigger and not nearly as portable.
And certainly not for public consumption, although I was kind of just digging through, like, what is the historical context of GPS? And, like, Reagan's over here like, yes, I'm gonna make sure that people can have GPS. So there was talk about it. I cannot say that it was a thing that had manifested at that point in time, and certainly not outside of the United States.
And that's as close to a positive thing as we'll ever say about Reagan.
I wouldn't even call that a positive indictment of Reagan, just a factoid that happened.
So yeah, Ryo's following the chopper. Mind you, I don't think he needed the GPS. They just kind of had to follow.
I know, like,
It's a helicopter. Just follow the helicopter. There's only one in the sky right now.
Does this also mean he tagged the helicopter?
It means he probably tagged Kathleen.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, you're right. That would have been way easier. I'm an idiot.
Because clearly, Dandy Jack did it last episode. He had her bugged.
That's true.
So if something is on Kathleen's person, she's not that good. She doesn't notice when she's got a bug or a tracker on her.
She's just trained to kill. She's not trained to know anything.
And so Cowdy's asking Ryo, well, okay, we're following them, but what's the plan here? And Ryo tells her, well, there's only one way we can try and make this thing come to a head. All three of them have to meet, and then the truth will come out somehow.
And then that happened. happens?
Like-
It's because Umibozu's trying to go to this mansion as well to get the drop on Dandy Jack. And
He's
then
in the bushes.
He's hiding in the bushes, and then the helicopter lands at the mansion, and Dandy Jack and Kathleen get out, and he's like, oh god, they're both here. And then Ryo and Kaori are like, oh god, they're all here. Kaori, don't go up there, let them handle this. And
And then
Kaori's-
Dandy Jack is like, man, Umibozu, I know you're in the bushes. Get the hell out here. And so they're there. All three of them.
I feel like kind of the rest of this could very easily just be summed up with, and then they fight.
Well, no, because that's the thing. We're already more than halfway done with the episode.
I know, there's really just not much to talk about. There's no comedy in this episode.
No hijinks, no Mokkori of any sort.
No.
And that hurts our bottom line here at MokkoriPlay. We need at least one boner a week.
There is no assault of women this episode.
Which is good, but at the same time, where's the entertainment gonna come from? I guess it has to be violence.
If we're not assaulting women, we have to murder people. Oh, murder happens. Oh, that's coming. That'll take a second. Hold on.
So Umibozu comes out from hiding, and Dandy Jack's like, I knew you were back there. And Umibozu's like, oh yeah, tough talk for a dude who's hiding behind a little girl.
In fact, Umibozu's like, look, Kathleen, I'll let you kill me if that's really what you want to do, but just let me kill Dandy Jack first real quick, alright? Do anything you want to do, just let me get this motherfucker first.
And Dandy Jack's over here talking that shit like, oh no, you won't. Kathleen, go ahead and get him. Go ahead and get him.
Kathleen really doesn't know what to do. She's got her gun trained on Umibozu, but she's just kind of,
And it's at this point that Umibozu goes ahead and tells her, hey, you know what? Straight up, Kathleen, I respected the hell out of your dad. We were partners. And then it goes into the sepia flashback.
where she's like a 6-year-old, and Umibozu's come over, and they're just having kind of a nice evening together. There's a fire in the fireplace. The two dudes are laughing and having fun and drinking some wine, and Kathleen really liked Umibozu way back in the day, and now she's trying to remember this, and she's like, oh my god, I really did like him once.
And Dandy Jack can see that she's having a flashback right now. So he's just yelling at her, shoot him! Shoot him!
Very Jurassic Park moment, yes.
And so Kathleen's a little conflicted, so Dandy Jack's like, well, screw it, I'll do it myself. And so they start trying to shoot at each other, Dandy Jack and Umibozu.
Umibozu's still a little off his game.
But he does manage to shoot and break Dandy Jack's gun.
So Umibozu's over here like, yes, I got the upper hand, so now I'm gonna kill Dandy Jack. And then Kathleen's like, no, I'm still conflicted. I still think it's possible that you killed my dad, but also I still don't really know. What the fuck do I do?
And so she shoots the gun out of Umibozu's hand, so that's skill, right?
Yeah.
And so here, Kaori and Ryo are still watching, and Kaori's like, what are we gonna do? He's gonna get killed!
Ryo's still just like nothing.
No, Ryo's over here like, no, wait it out. I'll do something cool. We just gotta wait for that moment. What moment? You'll know when we get there. And so, Kathleen is still conflicted here, and now she's starting to hear the echoes of what Ryo and Kaori were telling her earlier, just playing back in her head. He's an asshole. Partners don't do that. Umibozu protected you. Simba, remember.
This is CNN.
And so you see the light switch kind of go on in Kathleen's head like, I don't know what's going on, but you know what? The horny man and his friend, they kinda made sense. And so Dandy Jack gets up, and he's fed up with her, because this has just been going back and forth for like 5 minutes now, right?
Right.
And he just goes strolling up to her, and he's like, oh, I don't got time for this, give me that. And he just smacks her. She goes flying back onto the edge of this cliff, and then the cliff gives way.
And you think, oh, she's just fallen down to the rocky crag below, over the ocean, and Umibozu's kind of looked over the side, looking for her. I'm not really sure if he saw her exactly, because she was kind of off to the left.
Well, no, he sees her there, like, holding on to the side.
Yeah, she's hanging on to the side. So she hasn't totally fallen off the edge of the cliff just yet, although Dandy Jack doesn't know that. He can't see her, so he just plain thinks she's gone.
And so Umibozu's like, you jackass, go save her. She's your partner, isn't she?
And he's like, nah, if she's not killing you, she's utterly useless. You know, I told her all that shit about you killing her dad. And, I mean, obviously, I was the one that did that, but she doesn't know that. And she's listening to all this like, oh my God.
He goes into full villain monologue mode right here. He's telling her everything. Yeah, I did it. I set her up, and I trained her to kill you, because it was really gonna get my rocks off. And if she doesn't do it, I'm gonna do it. Either way, this is a great day for Dandy Jack.
He's pointing his gun at Umibozu this whole time, and...
So, if you don't like it, well, you can go to hell. And it's at that moment, the moment happens, and footsteps starts playing. And so Ryo's like, oh, that's my cue. And so he knocks the gun out of Dandy Jack's hand, shoots it out of his hand.
Umibozu now no longer has a gun trained on him, so he's able to go run over, and he's gonna try and save Kathleen dangling on the edge of this cliff.
And Ryo's gonna go take care of Dandy Jack, at least for the time being.
Well, unfortunately, while Umibozu goes to run over to try to save her, the cliff starts to give out under him too, and somehow Kaori comes in and, like, saves the both of them?
Look, Kaori hasn't done a lot in the last few episodes, let her have this one.
Alright, I'm just saying, she did something kind of superhuman for her body type.
But do you remember what she can do with hammers?
That's true.
If she's not going to wield a hammer this week, we need to show some feat of strength.
Lifting Umibozu by himself is kind of a lot, but then he's holding onto another person too.
And between the two of them, there are at least 2 hammers.
You think Kathleen weighs as much as one of those hammers?
She probably weighs about 108.
At best, yeah.
So Dandy Jack's running for the hills, and he gets back in the chopper to try and go after Ryo, but apparently Dandy Jack has never seen the opening to this series.
Because Ryo's like, oh no you don't, and shoots real fast all of the blades off of the helicopter.
All 3 blades.
And the helicopter just comes to a crash landing on the ground as Dandy Jack comes stumbling out. Oh my god, I didn't get very far at all, holy shit.
So now that everybody's back on solid ground, Kathleen goes running for the gun that's on the ground, picks it up, and points it at Dandy Jack's head. Like, oh, I'm gonna finish this right now that I've heard everything you just said.
Which is still kind of a hard thing for her because this whole thing is just so emotional.
I mean, it's a lot of information.
It is a lot to handle, but Umibozu does the right thing. And he's like, no, your dad wouldn't want you to have to do this. And he's probably right. And I'm sure Umibozu is being real nice right now, too. Like, this girl should not have to feel like she needs to kill anybody over anything. I'm sure Umibozu would have been more than happy to do that for her. And he's about to get his opportunity because Dandy Jack is like, ha, you dumb motherfucker, I still got a gun in my boot.
Well, mind you, it's just a punk-ass Derringer.
Yeah, but it is a sneak attack.
It is, and he misses with both shots, because Derringers only have 2 bullets.
And Dandy Jack is a punk-ass bitch, so.
Like, what's that old South Park song, Kyle's mom,
Kyle's mom's a bitch, and she'll always be the bitch. She's the biggest damn bitch in the whole wide world.
Well, just replace Kyle's mom with Dandy Jack.
Yeah, okay.
And so, Umibozu, he takes the gun from Kathleen, headshot.
Just one shot, straight to the head. I mean, mind you, this is nerfed for anime TV. It's a pretty bloodless headshot,
but it's a headshot.
It is, you can tell it's a headshot. The animators put a little bit of debris around his head. You're like, oh, where'd the debris come from?
Well, that's probably the back of his skull.
Even though they don't draw it that way.
But to add insult to injury, to further put my point in about this being like Kamen Rider, so he gets shot through the head.
He's already dead.
And then he slumps onto the helicopter.
And then the helicopter just kaboom!
Just the fiery inferno enveloping the body. Shabam! And Umibozu is the cool guy who looks at explosions.
Like, hey, that was pretty badass. that's the way, like, he doesn't say that, but that's the way it looks.
Yeah, and then he slowly walks away like, yeah, my work here's done. And he tosses the gun aside, and Ryo tells Kaori and Kathleen, look, you don't understand. Umibozu's been dealing with the guilt of what happened before for all these years. To him, Haywood was his one and only partner that he was ever gonna have. So, letting you think that he was the murderer of your father, that was his way of kind of making up for it because he felt guilty.
So Kathleen realizes all of these things, all kind of culminating together, and she runs up to Umibozu, and she's just so sorry, and she's crying, and she just decides she wants to give him a big ol' hug and cry into his chest.
Well, yeah, because now she realizes he's not the jerk here.
And I'm sure she feels bad about having been misled, too, so...
Also, I shot you like 4 times in the last 24 hours, so, like, my bad.
Yeah, and Umibozu's not even holding it against her.
See, that's how much of a good guy he is.
Yeah.
He's like, no, that's enough. It's fine. And you notice, since he's always so uncomfortable around women, and even in the flashback with little Kathleen, he got a little flustered.
Because I think part of it, too, is children. He gets flustered around children.
Very much so. But here, not a problem at all. He lets himself be vulnerable.
Or is it vulnerability, or he finally let himself be strong for her?
Oh, like strong in a different way.
Yeah. The strength that this girl has needed wanted for a long time and has never been able to get because some asshole was lying to her for 8 years straight.
And all she needed was a hug. I mean, damn.
Yeah.
That actually proves how much more poignant that was.
Character analysis.
That's what we're here for.
So, Calories like, oh, just one partner? The first and the last partner? That's like you and me, right? And I'm sitting here thinking, what are you talking about?
Mind you, that happens at the airport. Because now Kathleen is leaving Japan, and Umibozu's there to see her off, which he never does.
There she goes, flying off on Sunrise Air. Okay,
Airlines.
Airlines, because they only use one animation, and they never fixed it. So it doesn't say Sunrise Airlines, it says Sunrise Airlines.
The E is missing.
The last E is missing. But yeah, Calories, as if she's watching this plane leave, is just like, oh, so Umibozu had a first and a last partner, just one guy, so that's like you and me, right? And I just don't understand what made her say that, because she knows her brother was Ryo's previous partner, and then on top of that, Ryo has had several partners over the course of his life.
One we're gonna meet later, I think, in this season.
Well, yes, it's the guy who's the knockoff of Mick Angel.
And I think one of the woman.
There was also another woman,
Yeah, so as far as we're aware, he's had at least 3 partners that weren't Kaori.
Right, and so I just don't know why Kaori said this. And even Ryo is like, what?
Well, yeah, he's just kind of like, huh?
Because I think Kaori's like trying to have a moment, but she's also kind of an idiot.
Well, she's trying to force it.
That is real forced. It's real forced.
And we get this nice zoom out on Umibozu and Kaori and Ryo as the plane is taking off in the distance. Supergirl is playing, and that is the end of the episode.
There's not a whole lot of elaboration to go on. There's not inside jokes. There's not animation jokes.
There's no references. There's no advertisement for food products. It's just straight up story.
Which is good. Like, you need that every so often. There's going to be another couple of real good ones like that a little later on in this season. I think we're getting closer and closer to one of them. One of the real important ones coming up in just a couple of weeks here.
If there's one thing that we can say about the show is that the Umibozu episodes for sure never disappoint when it comes to character development.
Like, you just think he's some big stone-walled gorilla man, and then it turns out he's kind of a layered dude who just happens to be sort of quiet until he needs to not be quiet.
Like, don't forget, like, this dude cares. He has feelings. He's a Renaissance man. He loves the arts.
He loves music. He loves classical music, piano and violin, and like, what a dude.
And then you juxtapose that with Ryo this week, and he never cracked a joke once.
Yeah, not a single joke. And he didn't even try to put moves on anybody or anything. He was just like, no, when important stuff is going on, we need to serious the fuck up. Hold on.
And I think this is the only time we're ever gonna see that.
Yeah.
A jokeless episode. Mm-hmm. Like, it hurts my brain to be, like, I'm trying to go back over it, and I know there was no jokes this week.
And I know we keep trying to, like, reduce the length of our episodes, but now I'm starting to feel weird, like, are we supposed to say something else?
No,
like,
there's nothing else to say.
There's nothing else to say. I guess we'll stop.
Well, next week's episode will make better on the jokes. It's another multi-parter.
2 parts.
The beginning of next week's episode is very memorable if you're a horny kind of person because of things that happen with Sayako having to do with a hostage situation on a plane.
Hostage situations are fun, I guess.
I mean, when they involve boobies.
When they involve getting somebody down to their lingerie, yeah.
And then I don't remember the client next week, what she was doing there.
This one, I feel like it was not as important in the grand scheme of character development of these characters that we care the most about.
No, I think it's really just, look, we had a real heavy episode. We need to lighten it the hell up.
Yeah, I think that's a little closer to what it actually is.
So tune in next time and we'll give you some of that.
Yes, please come back next time when we cover the 17th episode of City Hunter 2, An Aspiring Traditional Japanese Woman, Mokkori Transcends National Borders, Part 1.
And if you want to catch us outside this podcast, you can always find us both over on Twitter, for now. I'm at JoshKnightTheFirst.
And I'm at MarzGurl. Thank you all so much for listening to our 67th episode of MokkoriPlay, and if you don't come back next episode, I'm going to embarrass Josh.
You can't embarrass me any further. I've got my baby pictures right here.
Ugh.